So let's now discuss the first hook, which is useState. As mentioned in the last slide, useState is essentially the equivalent of setState, but it also initializes the state as well. In React classes, you initialize the state in the constructor function. Since functional components do not have a constructor property, you both change the state and initialize the state in one function, which is useState. And useState takes one parameter called the initial state, and this is basically the default value that you want to start off with. And the useState function returns an array of two elements. It returns the state value as the first element and setState function as the second element. And on the right hand side, I've shown you how it looks like without array destructuring. And without array destructuring, I think it makes it a little bit easier to see what's going on. And both the value and set value are variable names that are user defined, and we can make them anything we want. To actually update the state, you use the function name, which is the second argument in the array destructuring, and you do not use the useState hook. And again, since this is a function, we're not using the this keyword anywhere, and we don't have to use props.setValue. We just call the function directly. And instead of using props.value, we also just use value just as is. And again, we don't need to use the state keyword anywhere either. So on the right hand side, I've also included syntax on how to work with multiple state properties. If you want another state property, you have to use the useState hook again. So using the useState hook again gives you a new value2 property and another setValue2 function. So essentially how you want to think about it is when you're using React useState hook, each value of the state, each property of the state has its own setState function, and it is initialized with the useState hook. So to change value2, you can only do it through the setValue2 function. You cannot change value1 in any way using that function. And this is important to understand because this is very different from how you use the setState function in React class components. So you just use useState once at the beginning of the file, which initializes one property of state and its own setState function. You then use that initialized function to change the state, and you don't use the useState hook to change the state after that. And again, this is important to understand because this is very different than using the setState function in class components. To read the state, you just pass in the variable name directly in curly brackets to the render method. And again, you don't have to use the state keyword or the props keyword. And similar to React classes, the component re-renders automatically when the state changes.